Hello, hello, welcome to Southern Handmade. My name is Patrick. I am so glad you are here. With the fall season coming and the soon-to-be Halloween upon us, I took it upon myself a couple weeks ago on my live stream to do something I like to call Weird Pumpkin Week. What's a weird pumpkin, you ask? Well, this is a weird pumpkin. And this is a weird pumpkin. And frankly, it was an excuse to just have a lot of fun making weird faces and trying to just have a blast making these awkward, strange guys for everyone to enjoy. Now, as a result, I've got a bunch of these weird pumpkins to show you. I thought I would show you one at a time each of these pumpkins and how they're made in short little time lapses for you to enjoy. But I thought the best way to start off the series was to do a more in-depth look at one of these weird pumpkins and how it was made. So rather than do my normal time lapse, this is going to be how to make your own weird pumpkin. I'm using my live stream, twitch.tv/southernhandmade, 11:30 a.m. Tuesday to Friday, Eastern Daylight Time. Love to see you there. We have a lot of fun and we do a lot of interesting things, including things like weird pumpkins, and I'd love to see you there. I also sell a number of the things that I make on my live stream. These weird pumpkins are for sale, as well as a bunch of other Halloween, fall, and some Christmas things. So please come check out the shop. The link is in the description below. And of course, let's get to the sculpt. So off camera, I made this sort of pumpkin-y shape. It's kind of like a big old jube. The shape doesn't matter too much as long as you're happy with some kind of shape. So I used aluminum foil and covered it up with some clay so we could prepare the surface for our weird pumpkin. So to make the shape more pumpkin-y, I took these large strips of clay and applied them to the sides of our pieces. Basically, you want to make these large panels going up above the top and going down below the bottom. You want to do this until you've filled up the entirety of the pumpkin with these shapes. Don't worry too much about blending at this point. We just want to get the coverage on there and make sure that we have enough strips to make a pumpkin. Usually 5 or 6 is an ideal amount that will cover your pumpkin well. With the last strip on, you can see here we've got 5 strips on our pumpkin, and now it's time for us to blend. So I'm going to take what's called a rake tool and begin to apply some pressure along this seam, just trying to blend in the gap between them without losing the gap that we've already created. We're using these natural shapes to help us get that pumpkin shape, and I think it helps out a lot. So everything is smooth. You can see that we've got a nice edge on which to build our pumpkin faces. You need to choose a good side, one that's sort of got a wide enough space, and you don't want the seam line to be in the middle of your face. And so we go around, check the edges, figure out exactly where we want to place it. Then I use an X-Acto knife or a similar tool to cut out a space for the face, kind of like you would if you were cutting away the surface of a pumpkin. These cuts may end up going deeper than you want to, getting down to the aluminum foil, but that's okay. Just pull off what you're going to take off and then reapply a thin layer of clay on top of the aluminum foil. Use your hand to smooth in the shape as well when you're done, just so there's a nice surface for you to work from. And with that, we're ready to make a face. I used a ball stylus to make some holes, added some eyes, covered them with eyelids, and put a nose on. I did a quick time lapse here of how I did it on this one, and you can be as creative as you like. Once I was happy with the face, I added space for a mouth. I start by applying a simple line along the mouth, just trying to draw in where I think we're going to want the mouth to be, and then I use a ball stylus to separate further and further the mouth from itself so that it can be wide open, ready for a tongue and some teeth. When I'm happy with the shape, I begin to take small pieces of clay to add a tongue and add some teeth. The tongue is just a semicircle of clay that I sort of push into the gap between the mouth and the lips. When it comes to adding the teeth, I take 2 rectangles of clay and apply them to the top of the mouth in roughly the position that 2 buck teeth would go, separate from each other and just off center from the tongue. And I apply a little bit of pressure into the slots that I've made just to make sure that they get locked in. And at this point, it's a matter of adding detail and refining the rest of the process. I add a little bit of work above the eyes to sort of fill in the eyebrows. And the face is basically done. Now that the head is done, it's time for us to add the stem to the top of the pumpkin. We do this by taking small tubes of clay and applying them in between each of the panels of the front of the pumpkin. Once these are applied, we take a larger snake of clay and give it a bit of character and shape and apply it on top of these, covering each of them so that they appear to blend into it. And then we use a tool to blend all the pieces of the clay back into the larger stem to make it look like they're all part of the same thing. We apply a quick wash of isopropyl alcohol to smooth things out, and we've got ourselves a weird pumpkin. With the core of the pumpkin done, let's talk a little bit about weird pumpkin painting. Basically, I applied a layer of orange, on which I then started to apply darker layers of orange as well as some brown in order to add some streaks and some color to it. I took a light yellow, which became the central focus of the faces, which allowed us to get that sort of fleshy pumpkin color to differentiate from the rest of the pumpkin. For the stem, I used a brown and I just sort of covered it up. And then I went around trying to do a lot of work to blend and bring out some highlights by taking sort of a dark wash and applying it in and around the stem to apply dirt and grime and other things, and then took a lighter shade to the rest of the pumpkin just to draw out some highlights and to give it some textural variety. For the face itself, once we had the base color and coat down, the task was primarily all about adding shading, which basically meant I took a little bit of my brown and added it to my yellow and just started adding shading markers wherever I could, where you would expect there to be light. Basically anywhere that was deeper than the top, we wanted to add some of this and then work to blend that to the surface with our brush, mixing it with our base color, trying to blend it to the top. We did the same thing with a lighter shade that we applied to the highlights, like the top of the nose, to the cheeks, the eyebrows. Everywhere where we thought there would be a highlight, we had this highlight, and then it was just a matter of blending all that together, coloring the eyes, making sure they're nice and white and bright, creating a black circle, a blue circle on top, and then a black circle on top of that to create the illusion of an eye, and then of course 2 little white dots to capture the light in the room. The last thing we want to do to those eyes is make sure we put a brown edge around it, kind of like we're lining in the eye, to give it the illusion of both having sort of eyelashes like you would expect an eye to have, but even more so just to help differentiate the yellow of the eye from the white of the eye. And it helps to bring a lot of texture to it. And essentially from there, you've got your painted pumpkin. Hey, let's check out how this one looks in the final reveal. And there you go. This particular weird pumpkin I've called Madness because he looks a little bit insane and I'm not entirely sure if he's okay. I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial of how to make a weird pumpkin. I've got a whole bunch of these to show you over the next month or so. So I'm going to be putting out quick short versions of them, sort of 5-minute time lapses to see how different expressions like madness, disappointment, calm, anger, upbeat, how I sort of interpret them over the course of my weird pumpkin work. And you can actually buy some of these off of my Etsy shop if you're interested. The link is below. I've got a bunch of stuff there. It really supports the channel. And of course, you can always come check out the work that we're doing on our live stream where we make all the things we make here on the channel. Twitch.tv/SutherlandHandmade, 11:30 a.m. Tuesday to Friday, Eastern Daylight Time. I'd love to see you there. It's a great little community. We chat about art, we chat about movies, we chat about things that we like. And I'd love to see you there. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial on how to make yourself a weird pumpkin. If you do make a weird pumpkin, I'd love to see it. You can check me out on Instagram at Southern Handmade. And I'd love to see your stuff. Please tag me if you make one. I'd love to see it. And of course, there's lots more to come on the channel. If you enjoy this video, hit like, hit subscribe, and check out the other things we got. Until next time, keep being awesome.